Next, we're going to pull this harness off of here. So we'll work on popping loose some of these harness stays. This one loose. This guy. As you can see, I've labeled all of this. I did that off camera to save time. We talked about that earlier. So now I'm going to disconnect the exhaust cam sensor, and I'll go ahead and do the intake cam sensor, and bring you guys over here so you can see what we're talking about here. Okay, so we disconnected that one, and now we need to disconnect this. Pull that little lock up, and I believe we squeeze that. That would come off of there. And there we go. One thing I've noticed doing this job already is, we talked about it earlier, but when you push these releases down, pretty much any other vehicle that I've worked on, they work a heck of a lot better than that. Now, remember the one earlier for it was that oxygen sensor, the lower oxygen sensor connector. We actually had to take this tool, push it down in there to get that tap to get that thing to release. So let's see, what else can I show you from over here. We took this off of that stud there, and we popped that loose. So let's see, we'll go ahead and get this stay. Some of these guys, they're going into plastic, so again, be real careful. Go ahead and pop this one loose. Maybe. Okay. All of those loose. We'll go ahead and take our map sensor connector loose. That's good. Okay. Go ahead and get our coil packs disconnected. These little locks just push back. Theoretically, you should be able to pinch that. Oh yeah, those work great. Very nice. Wish they all worked that way. It's got that. Get our fuel pump disconnected. This is our fuel injector harness, which we're going to just leave on the top of the motor right now. We'll switch that over when we build the long block up. So that's got that stuff out of the way. We've got one more stay here. And then it looks like I've got a couple more to label, and then we'll come back and pull the rest of them. These are actually the cam sensors here. These must be the VDT sensors. Yeah. We take this, we should be able to start laying this off to the side like that. Looks like we probably have some type of stay back here. Got it. There's one there and there's one right next to it. Broke, so we're gonna have to replace that when we go to put the motor back in. So we got one more connector or something on the back side here that I'll take a look at, and we'll get that thing disconnected and we'll be ready to lay the harness off to the side. That's just the alternator wire. Has some stays holding it in place. So we'll get it loose. Looking at it from underneath, it has a stay right in here. Okay, got that one loose, and there's one over a stud here. That one loose. All right. So should be able to lay that up there. Looks like it's got a plastic clamp holding it to a oil cooler hose. And now should hopefully be able to take this harness, holding it. Okay, we still had the NOx sensor and the oil pressure sensor connected. Those are now loose. And of course we had one other stay there. Okay, so we've got our harness all laying off to the side here. Next was to remove the fuel line right there, but I don't have the special tool required for that. And with that, the high pressure fuel pump's got to come off anyways to go on to the new engine. So I just removed it, and I'm going to lay it down here, and I'll get a bag put on it here in a little bit, because I know these are delicate and you need to keep them clean. So, but next thing we need to do is we need to pull the plug so we can access our torque converter bolts. And in order to do that, so here we are looking down on the engine, and it is down right in there. Okay, let's get our plug out. So Then inside of there, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see, but inside of there will be where we get a hold of those torque converter bolts to get them loosened. So let me put this up on the tripod and we'll get going on that. I'm going to give you guys a quick tip. So here, this is one of the 4 locking nuts for the torque converter we were taking out. So that thing's up recessed inside the hole we showed down there. So a little trick that I use to make sure I don't drop the nut down inside of there is I'll take a magnet. I usually go get my biggest magnet here, and with this nut, imagine that sitting on the end of the threads of that stud. You come in here with the magnet, magnetizes to it. Now you just unscrew that, and then when you pull that off of there, then that's what you've got. Makes it pretty easy. So for the last few steps here before we lift the engine out, I have a transmission, not a transmission jack, I have a floor jack under there with a block of wood, and so we need to start. See, I've already got this one coming out. We need to remove those bolts. There's one there. So 13 millimeter, we'll get those knocked loose, and then once we get those loose, we come over here and we pull this mount off. Of course, we got to make sure we've got our lifting equipment on there, and then it's got a lifting eye there, and it's got a lifting eye there that we'll put our chain across. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the engine and transmission bolts out, and then we'll get hooked up to lift this thing out of here. Alright, we're just about ready to lift this thing out of here. I got one bolt holding the engine and transmission together here. Okay. Now, this guy loose a little. And they said to make sure the torque converter stays in the transmission, and ours is doing that. And they want you to, of course, common sense too, but they want you to double check that you don't have anything holding you up. Everything's looking really good. We've got one harness stay we need to get. Okay. Everything still looks good. Okay, we're going to continue on up here. Still all clear and looking good. Keep in mind when you do this, guys, you're really close to the windshield back there. So just be really careful. You hook that lip accidentally, you could be buying yourself a new windshield. Not quite clear yet. Now, we should be able to start rolling this guy out. More. Right on, guys, she's out. Well, that went really smooth. And that's what you got down in the hole. So, also, there's a torque converter. So, alright, well that's going to do it for this one. When we come back with the next video in the series, we're going to take that blue bag over there, that's our new long block, and we'll take that, put this one next to it, and get our long block built up so that we're ready to drop it back in.